Everyone, we will be starting the session in a few minutes. A very warm welcome to everyone who has joined us for today's session. I am Anitya Mohanty, currently pursuing my master's in psychology from Banaras Hindu University, and I'm the moderator for today's intriguing and eye opening session on the breadth of forensic psychology in India and beyond. Today we have with us Ms. Pooja Tomar, who is a forensic psychologist at the Juvenile Justice Board, New Delhi, and is also the founder for the Center of Forensic Clinical Psychology. We welcome you with the warmest of our regards, ma'am. So, as we all know, that forensic psychology is an upcoming field in the spectrum of psychology as a whole, growing faster each day and contributing in the fields revolving around crime, justice, and rehabilitation as well. So, get ready to dive into this mysterious and intriguing world of forensic psychology with us today. However, before we start the session, I would like to inform the participants that your videos and microphones have been disabled for the smooth proceeding of the session. In case there are any burning questions, then you may type them in the chat box and they'll be taken up by the end of the session as well. So, without further ado, I request Pooja ma'am to kindly take over and enlighten us.
Thank you so much, Anitya. And it is really nice to see you guys because you are also from BHU. Hana? I have also done my masters from BHU. So after a long time, I can see means it's a change. At our time, there was no as such digital things, webinar things, nothing was there. Okay? So yeah, it is really nice to connect with you, meet with you, and I guess of there are people who are not from BHU, I guess, right? Right. So, okay, from the I'm understanding it from the India. We are having students, participants, whatever you say. Okay. More people are going to join, or it is enough.
Ma'am,
It
I
is
think we
done.
can start the session. They can keep joining when they.
Okay. 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 Chalo. So, today, as sorry, ये पेन कैसे हो गया? Okay, today what we are going to discuss that is very basic. What I'm trying to deliver just a knowledge about forensic psychology. I'm assuming that you all are new to this field. You would like to know what is forensic psychology, what are the scopes in India, whether it's a good subject for you as a career wise or not. After masters, what you supposed to do, after graduation, what you supposed to do. and if you want to go in this field, so what this field is all about, right? So all these things I'm going to discuss, but obviously for that I have to tell you something about what is forensic psychology, right? चलो तो तुम्हारा म्यूट है, कैमरा भी बंद है, सब कुछ है, उसको नहीं टच करते हैं अभी। पहले मुझे सुनो एंड देन अब मैं तुम लोगों को सुनूंगी, ठीक है? चलो तो मैं अपनी पीपीटी शेयर कर देती हूँ आपसे। आई एम नॉट ए Is it visible, my PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, in my introduction, you have heard I'm a forensic psychologist. Also, I'm running Center for Forensic and Clinical Psychology. Basically, that is kind of a training center where I usually give trainings and internships to the students, and sometimes counselings and other things are also there. The clinical part also we take care, in which we give diagnosis and treatment clinical. Also, we run some child psychology and organizational psychology courses as well in that my training center. I am based in Chandigarh now. Earlier, I was in Delhi. Okay, so that is about me. I will tell you about me, about my journey also throughout this session in between, so that you can understand what is actually forensic psychologists look like in India. Okay, because we have different perspective in our mind. Just directly, I'm not jumping on the forensic psychology. Before that, I would like to discuss few terms which you can see over my screen. I guess you are more familiar with these terms because these are the fields or these are the courses that we are running from very beginning, means 50 years, 60 years, 80 years in India. But forensic psychology is a bit new. That's why people do not know about that. Forensic science, I know everybody have heard about it. Suna hai na forensic psychology? Yes, forensic science, sorry. Have you watched CID? अच्छा, अभी आप तो बोल नहीं सकते हो. Can they comment? Can they
Yes,
write?
ma'am. The chat box is open for everyone.
Okay. So CID, yes. So CID में जितने भी केसेस सॉल्व होते थे वो किसकी हेल्प से होते थे? डॉक्टर गोखले कोई थे ना, वो क्या करते थे बेसिकली? डॉक्टर सोलंकी, राइट? यस, वो टेस्ट करते थे. एंड यू मस्ट ऑब्जर्व कि एवरी टाइम पुलिस यूज टू गो टू द लैब, और वहां पे वो या तो उनका ब्लड सैंपल देते थे, डीएनए सैंपल देते थे, बोन देते थे, या किसी भी तरह का एविडेंस मिलता है, नाइफ मिला है तो वो देंगे, गन मिली है तो वो देंगे, राइट? ऑल दोस थिंग्स दे यूज टू प्रोवाइड टू डॉक्टर सोलंकी ऐसे ही था ना? हाँ. सो वो होता था फोरेंसिक साइंस. इन साइंस व्हाट वी रीड, फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, बायो, यही पढ़ते हैं. When we connect these things with the forensics, that becomes forensics. So आपका अगर blood है तो that comes under the biology. DNA है तो बायोलॉजी. अगर आपका गन का आ जाता है कि गन कितनी दूरी से चली, कितनी उसकी कितना फायर हुआ, कितना डिस्टेंस था, कौन सा एंगल था, ये आपका कम्स अंडर बैलिस्टिक्स. फिजिक्स, आपका किसने कितना पॉइजन मिलाया, किस चीज में क्या मिला के दिया तो वो जहर बन गया, ये कम्स अंडर केमिस्ट्री, है ना? तो ये सारी जो चीजें होती है दैट वी सॉल्व विद द हेल्प ऑफ साइंस. एंड व्हेन वी connect it with the crime or solving the crime, it becomes forensic science. Got it? Forensic science तो हमने सबने देखा है, सुना है. Second thing is criminal psychology. Criminal psychology, देखो, in India we do not have as such UGC courses over criminal psychology. As such, no university is giving degree in criminal psychology. Universities are providing degree in criminology and forensic psychology. ठीक है? But still, criminal psychology is a different field. Now, what is criminal psychology? In whatever the field, you are going to study two things. Psychology, you know, is studying about the feeling, emotion, thoughts, right? Yahi psychology hai, behavior. When you are studying all those aspects of criminals, that becomes criminal psychology. Okay. Third field is criminology. In this, you will see psychology word is not there. It is crime plus logic. Where in whatever the course, you are going to understand and study about the crime, only crime. And in crime, everything comes in. Psychology also, economics also, biology also, environment also, politics also. है ना? कोई क्राइम हो रहा है तो ये तो है नहीं सिर्फ क्राइम हो रहा है उसके पीछे कोई रीजंस नहीं है, उसके पीछे तो बहुत सारे रीजंस हैं। आपका एनवायरनमेंट कैसा है, आपकी कंट्री कैसी है, पॉवर्टी कितनी है, एजुकेशन कैसी है, फैमिली बैकग्राउंड कैसा है, बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं। व्हेन यू स्टडी ऑल अबाउट क्राइम, उसके सारे ही एस्पेक्ट्स, दैट इज क्रिमिनोलॉजी। एंड नाउ कम्स टू फोरेंसिक साइकोलॉजी। अगेन साइकोलॉजी, यू नो, इमोशंस, बिहेवियर, थॉट्स, है ना, ये सब। But when we practice or apply these things in the clinic, in the legal setups, in the law forms, in the court, that becomes forensic psychology. ठीक है, आगे मैं और अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन करूंगी so that you will be able to understand. देखो, forensic language, do you have any language problem, guys? Mix, or it should be just English, or it is fine? Let me know. Bilingual is okay, English, only English, it's perfect. Okay, done. Sure. Yeah. So, forensic psychology. What is forensic? First, we will understand this. In earlier ancient time, basically, ancient time में जब हमारे पास राजा महाराजा हुआ करते थे, हमारे पास कोर्ट्स नहीं हुआ करती थी। तो whenever the people, the जनता, they had obviously some issues, तो वो कहाँ जाते थे for the justice? To the king. So every time you cannot meet the king, और आपके पास वो भी नहीं था कि आपने लीगल फॉर्म सेटअप्स किए हैं और फिर वो आप कोर्ट में दोगे, फिर आपको डेट्स मिलेंगी, ये सब भी कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं था। तो उन्होंने क्या किया था, दे मेड अ प्लेस आउटसाइड ऑफ देयर किंगडम, कि यहाँ पे वी हैव मेड दिस प्लेस, यहाँ पे एक बेल लगा दी गई है बहुत बड़ी सी। इफ यू हैव एनी इशू, यू कम ओवर हियर, यू जस्ट रैंग द बेल, और वो हमारे लोगों को सुन जाएगा, एंड देन वी विल कन्वे योर मैसेज टू द किंग, और फिर आप आ सकते हो एंड दे विल डू जस्टिस। तो वो जो उन्होंने पर्टिकुलर एक प्लेस बनाया था, उसको उन्होंने क्या नाम दिया था? फोरम. It is a forum where you can come and ring the bell, and we will listen to your case, whatever it is. उस forum से the word generated forensis. ठीक है, the word forensic originated from the Latin word forensis, and forensis, which means of the forum, and was used to describe a location in ancient time. Location जहाँ पे आके आप बेल रिंग करोगे और आपका केस सुना जाएगा। तो यहां से आया फोरेंसिस। अभी जब हमें कोई भी लीगल सपोर्ट चाहिए होता है, जस्टिस चाहिए होता है, हम कहाँ जाते हैं? वी गो टू द कोर्ट फॉर आपका सिविल केस हो, आपका क्रिमिनल केस हो, किसी भी आपका कस्टोडियल केस है, आपका प्रॉपर्टी का केस है, वट एवर द केसेस, आपको कोर्ट जाना पड़ता है जस्टिस के लिए। तो सेम, पहले वहां जाते थे फॉरम में, अब जाते हैं कोर्ट में। नाउ फॉरेंसिक साइकोलॉजी इज, जब भी आपका साइकोलॉजी का एप्लीकेशन उस कोर्ट में होगा, उस फॉरम में होगा, दैट बिकम्स फोरेंसिक साइकोलॉजी। नाउ यू टेल मी, एक कोर्ट में किस तरह से साइकोलॉजी यूज की जा सकती है, किस तरह के केसेस में यूज की जा सकती है? बताओ। ओके ओके जेनी। ओके, होमिसाइड, ओके, फॉर एविडेंसेस, राइट, murder cases, criminal cases, mental illness cases, or and custody cases. Personality determination, no, not in the court. I'm just asking cases. For personality determination, we can do of the criminals, but that is in the prison. But I'm asking in the court. rape, murder, insanity defense, if there is any mental illness, right? So whatever, if there is a criminal and he has anything related to this, means suppose somebody did rape, right? But it's the psychology. What would be the psychology over here? Lots of rape cases are there, lots of murder cases are there on daily basis. So what kind of psychology you are going to use over in these cases in the court? We have enabled your mics. Feel free to respond by muting yourself. Okay, motive behind crime, the psychological aspect of the criminal, psychological aspect of the victims. Okay. Understanding the psyche of the criminals, rehab for the criminals and victims, right? Aggressive behavior, hostility, right? And if it's a child custody case, so we can do psychological assessment of the parents as well as of the child. If it is a will case, there also we can say we can do psychological test. If it is a malingering case, if there are cases related to the eyewitnesses, whether eyewitnesses is telling the right thing to the court or not, lots of things are there. Chalo, good. You have good understanding. Chalo. So next thing is what involves forensic psychology. There are majorly three. It's a combination of three fields, that is psychology, criminal justice, and law. It does not mean that you should have a degree in law. It means you should have knowledge of these three things. When we work in the clinical settings, or suppose clinical settings, so you should have knowledge of medical, means hospital. If we are working in organization psychology, you should have knowledge of MNCs, the different type of organizations, organizational behaviors. Same like that, when we work with forensics, we should have knowledge of psychology, obviously. Criminal justice means how these how police works, how court works, how the prison works, as well as law, how our law works. Whenever you start working with the criminals and victims, no, mostly their focus will be on the law, not on the psychological problem. For example, you are in the prison for the rehabilitation purpose and you are giving therapy or counseling to a criminal. He will be concerned about his bail, his justice, or his verdiction, which is going to be come soon. He will always ask you, ma'am, when I'll get bail, ma'am, what will happen in my case legally. So as a counselor, as a psychologist, you should also have a bit knowledge of law. I'm not saying the 100% knowledge of law, but uh, at least something. Means sometimes they will use, ma'am, I am in 420 case, and 376 केस, 376 का केस है, and you will be blank. 376 क्या होता है, 420 क्या होता है? So that's not going to work. As a forensic psychologist, we should know, okay, this code is used for this particular crime, because they will tell you crime by the code, not they won't tell you direct uh, no, crimes what they have done. In fact, police also will talk you in the same manner. In fact, a prison authority will talk you in same manner. In especially courts also, they will tell you under section this person has come. So you need to know, okay, this section applies for this particular crime, and how much punishment is applicable for this crime, how much relaxations are there. So many things are there in the law, but at least a little bit knowledge will help you to deal with the forensics field. Got it? Getting my point? Am I clear till now? Yes, no, let me know jaldi jaldi. Chalo. Now, whenever uh, people ask you what is forensic psychology, what actually forensic psychologists do, if you want to be a forensic psychologist, what will you do, how you are going to work, ab kya karoge. So these are the few things that you should know, and if you would like to convince your parents, if you would like to tell your teachers or your friends actually what forensic psychologists do. So these are the few things that you can tell. First of all, this is a uh, course or field which is intersection of law and psychology. Second thing, we deal with the psycho-legal issues. We just do not deal with the psycho cases, yeah, legal cases. No, we deal with the psycho-legal issues where two things involved. One is psychological, second is legal, right? Third is this field, it needs expertise beyond clinical, who always worked in clinical settings or organization settings. Suddenly, if they would like to change their field and would like to work in the forensics, it does not work. You should have bit experience or training in forensics. Only then you will be able to perform well in this particular field. And that's why I always encourage students to do internships or any kind of work in this field if they would like to pursue further this course. It is relatively new, that is true, and we need to accept that is it is new. There are few pros of new field, there are few cons of new field. So pros and cons we need to understand. Few bad things are there, few good things are there. Good is it's a new field, lots of scope to work. Very easily you can get the positions and the jobs and everything. But bad things are there, that ready-made jobs are not there. Organization do not know how to hire forensic psychologists. What forensic psychologist can do for them, they don't know, because it's a new field. They know about clinical psychology, they know about organization, but forensic psychology they do not know. And that's why lots of government jobs are based on MA psychology. That's it. Not MA specific psychology. It is MA psychology, because lots of organizations, lots of people do not know why hire experts in that particular field. So pros and cons are always there. The main important thing is in clinical psychology, we majorly focuses on the diagnosis and treatment. But in forensic psychology, we do not majorly focus on treatment and diagnosis. We focus on the functional behavior. Means what person is doing right now, we usually do the assessments for that, therapies for that. Also, our work is very much related to the courts and prisons. So functional behavior of the person, जैसे कि कोई criminal है आपके सामने, some victim is in front of you, you are going to observe the functional behavior. If they are saying something and they are doing something, there is a difference that you have to notice. In clinical settings, what we do, whatever the patient says, we believe that. But in forensic settings, we can't do that. If in forensic settings we found anyone is suffering from any mental illness or any clinical disorder is there, so we refer that person for the further process, further diagnosis and treatment to the clinical psychologist. We do not take the case in our hand. Okay? A primary mission of forensic psychology is to protect individual human rights, ensure justice, and enhance well-being. These three terms are very important. How we do that? By applying psychological concepts to legal issues. Now I'm saying human rights, ensure justice, and enhance well-being. Three things we have to protect. Why I'm saying human rights? Tell me, as a psychologist, how I'm going to protect human rights? Tell me. As a psychologist, human rights. Victim have been violated by the criminals, so we can help them get justice. Absolutely. And well-being, so that any person is not wrongfully convicted, right? If they are in the prison, they again get all the uh, rights. They should get all the rights. What rights we have? Whether it's a criminal, it's not a criminal, we don't know, but they should get right in the prison as well. To that step in a fit to some mental illness. Okay. If a criminal took that step in a fit of some mental illness, sanitation and health rights should be maintained, basic needs are fulfilled. Absolutely, absolutely. Acha, justice. How I'll ensure justice? If suppose I'm working in a prison and I'm giving therapy to the criminals, so am I doing justice with the victims? I'm giving therapy, psychological therapy to a rapist. Am I doing justice with the victim who is outside? Batao. Preventing more potential victims, right? And actually, the justice of the victim in legal boundaries is only limited to perpetrators being convicted to help them find out the cause behind their behavior. Hmm. So, right. See, so many things are there. If I am a psychologist, so I cannot be biased. The person who is sitting in front of me, that person is just my client. For me, the person is not criminal or victim, right? This person is my client. I'm going to consider that as a client. Now try to understand this perspective from a doctor's perspective. If there is a criminal who got injured in suppose encounter, or suppose by any chance he got injured and he went to hospital, or he uh, by the police or anyone, he went to the uh, hospital. Whether a doctor ever says because he is a criminal, he was involved in the crime, I'm not going to treat him, right? So same with us. Lots of students have this confusion, ma'am, why we are working, we helping criminals, why we are giving therapies to the criminals, why we are uh, treating them, because of that, right? Because we are psychologists, we are not judges, we are not here to give punishment to anyone, we are here to help them. Same, we have to take care of their well-being till the time they are going to be in the prison. Maybe it is for 1 month, 1 year, 20 years, whatever it is, we will help them as a psychologist, not as a Pooja, right? Not as a Anitya, but as a psychologist, because I'm sitting on that chair. Okay. So never ever think this, come this thought in your mind that why I am helping them, because you are a psychologist, this is your duty. If you are sitting on that chair, if you are not sitting on that chair, and at your home you would like to make any judgment or anything, that's up to you, that is your individual choice. But as a psychologist, yes, Ajay, non-judgmental attitude should be there. Whether he has done, she has done or not done, that is not my concern. My concern is just my duty, and that I'm going to do perfectly, right? Acha, this is a bit about history that you can read at any place, means Google or something. How this forensic psychology basically starts in the world. How these concepts come into the mind. Ki psychology is related to the forensics as well. So this person you can see in the PPT, no, he is Daniel Magnocton. Magnocton is a rule now. In which we say if somebody is suffering from any mental illness, he is not considered as the guilty. Okay? So this is the Magnocton rule right now also. How it started, actually this person was suffering from any particular disorder, which is paranoia and delusion of persecution, which I could find in the history. He was suffering from that, and under that particular illness, he committed a crime. He killed someone on 20th January 1843. So he was convicted. He went to the prison for the life imprisonment. He got the punishment. He was in the prison. But there, normal doctors, MBBS doctors, psychiatrists, they observed that there is something which is not right with this Daniel. okay, which is not right. He is not like looking like a normal, he's not behaving like a normal person. So from this case onwards, they said he is not normal, we have to do some diagnosis. And then psychology field were not that much emerged, but psychiatry was there. Then psychiatrists test him, and they found he is suffering from paranoia and delusion. Under the particular disorder, he committed this crime. Means he was not in his senses when he committed the crime. So when he was not in senses, he was not having the idea of what is real and what is real. So how you can give him punishment? Suppose there is a kid who is 3 or 4 years old, and by chance he shoot someone and he died, another person died. आप 4 साल के बच्चे को पनिशमेंट दोगे कि आपने जानबूझ के मारा है, आपने आपका कुछ इसके पीछे मोटिव होगा, दैट्स व्हाई यू किल्ड द अनदर पर्सन? वी कैन नॉट. इनफैक्ट बिलो द 7 years वी कैन नॉट गिव द पनिशमेंट टू द चाइल्ड, बिकॉज अभी तक डेवलपमेंट उसका जो ब्रेन का हुआ है वो जो होना था अभी तक हुआ नहीं है प्रॉपर. सो वी कैन नॉट मेक हिम responsible for his this behavior. So same happened with the mental illness person also. They do not have sense of the reality. Then if under the influence of mental disorder, if they have committed any crime, in that case we cannot make them responsible. And if they are not responsible, we cannot give them punishment. Simple. So after this particular case, psychology comes in the role, and lots of cases on the basis of reason of insanity were taken care, and lots of people found whatever the mental ill people found, and they got relieved from the court. Okay? That's how this psychology things got started. And there is a history in 1908 से start होके now 2024 तक, how it is emerging and growing. Now let's come to the Indian history, means how it comes in India and when it comes to India. So in India, it comes after the independence, obviously 1968, in our CBI laboratory. CBI is Central Bureau of Investigation, and there is a laboratory, Forensic Science Laboratory. Sabse pehle, there was a division was set up, which is division of for the lie detection. Have you heard lie detection or polygraph? Obviously, I'm sure you have heard. So that was set up in the CBI. And from there, forensic psychology started. Dr. S.L. Vaya was there, who is also considered as mother of forensic psychology in India. She set up that particular lab. In 1989, after 20 years or so, she also conducted one narco analysis. But that time, consent was not necessary from the client, whether it's a victim or whether it's a criminal. Consent was not needed. But in 2010, the Supreme Court of India ruled that any test such as narco analysis, lie detection, brain electrical oscillation signature profiling, they cannot be conducted without informed consent. So if you want to perform these tests on anyone, that person consent is compulsory, whether it's a terrorist, not terrorist, but whether it's a criminal, whether it is convicted, non-convicted, whatever it is, you have to take the consent of the person. अगर वो person हाँ बोलेगा तभी आप ये टेस्ट कर सकते हो, otherwise आप नहीं कर सकते हो. And that's why in psychology consent is very, very important. ठीक है? As we are growing, technologies are growing, lots of things are growing, criminals are also becoming more smarter, and that's why they are using lots of techniques to commit the crime. अभी वो इस तरह की टेक्निक्स यूज करते हैं कि फिजिकल जो एविडेंसेस है ना, जैसे मैंने बोला ब्लड, फिंगरप्रिंट, डीएनए, बॉडी सैंपल्स, आपके हेयर सैंपल्स, वेपन्स, वो लोग नहीं छोड़ते हैं बिकॉज दे नो easily it can be detected. So they leave very less physical evidences, and that's why we need some technology which can work beyond the physical evidences. And psychology is not about the physical evidences, it is about the psychological evidences. And that's why forensic psychology came into the existence and is starting helping in solving the crime. Where physical evidences are not present, over there, forensic psychology starts working, whether it is criminal profiling, whether it is psychological assessments, whether it is your narco analysis, lie detection test, and all those things. Okay. Um, this is not very much important. First, basic section is over, means what is forensic psychology? That is over. Second section is now you should know what forensic psychologists do, what are the works comes under the our area. The first is always remember forensic psychology field is bit challenging in uh, two ways. First, in getting the jobs, as I told you, people do not know much about this field. Second, uh, because you have to work in challenging fields with the police, with the courts, with the prisons, जहाँ पे already बहुत strict है, बहुत सारे rules हैं, बहुत legalities हैं, lots of things are there. You have to work in that particular setups. So that's why forensic psychology is challenging. Plus, your clients are also very challenging. These are not the clients who are coming willingly to you, right? You are going to them that we want to treat you. They don't want to be treated. You want to treat them. In fact, in the victim cases also, first of all, victim do not know that he or she is suffering from psychological issues. Secondly, most of the time, victim do not have money to pay you. Third thing, victim do not want to disclose their problems because first of all they are victim. Secondly, they don't want to victimized again and again by telling their story to lots of people. They usually they feel harassed by telling a story to the police, to the lawyer, now psychologist as well. So our clients are also very challenging. So if you like challenges, this field is for you. But if you would like to have a very smooth kind of job, so in this, you cannot expect very smooth type of work. Okay. Most of the time, forensic psychologists work in the prisons, as I told you. So there you have to interact with the criminals as well as prison officers. So there you assess them, criminals, you interact with them. Different kind of criminals are there. Somebody committed rape, some committed murder, कोई robbery है, arson cases हैं, and domestic violence cases hain, and everybody will tell you that they didn't committed any crime, they were not involved, it was not their fault, by mistake they come in the prison. Somebody falsely उन्हें फंसा दिया गया है, गलत चार्जेस हैं, पुलिस ने अब गलत पकड़ लिया है, some kind of stories you are going to hear. Now, as a psychologist, it is again up to you how you are going to deal with that case. Whether you are going to believe that story, whether you are going to work on believing that story, whether you are going to work with that particular uh, client as an individual, and lots of things are there. So that is another thing. Whatever the reports we prepare in in clinical settings, whatever the report you prepare, that is going to be with you mostly. If you have your own setups, if you are working with the hospitals as well, mostly the reports will be with you. Assessment you are doing for yourself to understand or to diagnose the person so you can treat them. But in forensic setups, whatever you do with the criminal or the client, that is a document for the submission to the legality, you can say. If you are working in the prison, तो आपको superintendent को submit करना है. कोर्ट में काम कर रहे हो तो आपको judges को submit करना है. If you are working in observation home, again superintendent को. If you are working in some NGO also, in that also whatever the counseling and whatever you are doing, you have to submit those files to your superiors. Ki bhai, whatever I have done, these are the things. If any time in any case court asks for any reports or any counseling session report, then this can be submitted. So that's why, again, this one more thing. I'm telling you the challenges, right? Okay, and during all the activities in prison, in observation home, kyunki victims or criminals hain, they are mostly in every setup, they are under the observation. CCTV cameras are always there. So if they are under the observation, you are also going to be under the observations. In prisons, rules are very strict. So we also obey the rules, very strict checking, very means you cannot take anything into the prison. आप clips बहुत ज्यादा नहीं लगा सकते हो. Digital watches are not allowed, and money you cannot bring into the prison. Or what, pins, clips, इस तरह की चीजें आपको अलाउ नहीं होती है, बिकॉज क्रिमिनल्स हैं वहां पे. इस सब चीजों से वो मिसयूज कर सकते हैं. आप किसी को कुछ हेल्प नहीं कर सकते हो, मनी के थ्रू हेल्प नहीं कर सकते हो. इनफैक्ट एक वाटर बॉटल, जस्ट योर पेन और एक पेपर, इतना ही आपको अलाउ करते हैं. उससे ज्यादा आपको कुछ अलाउ नहीं किया जाता है प्रिजन के अंदर. सो इस तरह की चीजें होती हैं. सो एमएनसी वाला फील नहीं आता है. Additionally, you have to be comfortable with noisy and disturbed prison environment as well. In court also disturbed environment होता है. Lots of people are there, lawyers, judges, ये सब होते हैं आपके आसपास. Prisons में criminals, officers, ये सब चीजें आपके पास होती है. Plus these are the government setups. You cannot make lots of changes in the setup. So whatever the room is provided to you, उसको ही आपको अपना work area समझ के you have to work over there. So these are the basic challenges. What you do as a work, mental functioning of the defendants, we try to find out, or the mental functioning of the criminals, whether defendants means criminals. So in the court, suppose there is a person who committed murder or rape. Now court will ask you that this person committed rape, committed murder, whatever it is. We would like to know what is the mental functioning of the defendant, whether when he committed the crime he was in the senses. Second, right now is he in the senses to defend him, to face the trial. If he is mentally fit, then it is okay, the case will go on. If he is not fit, then first he will be treated in the hospital, and then case will come in. So first treatment, then case. पहले केस फिर ट्रीटमेंट नहीं होता है. पहले उसको ट्रीट करोगे और फिर उसका केस वापस से जिस स्टेज पे है वहां से स्टार्ट होगा. Forensic psychologist also can be called by the prosecutors, means the defense lawyers. They can call you. For example, murder case था और मैंने डिफेंडेंट का जो लॉयर है वो बोल रहा है माय क्लाइंट इज सफरिंग फ्रॉम डिप्रेशन या सिजोफ्रेनिया या एंजाइटी डिसऑर्डर, कुछ ही बोल दिया है. एज अ साइकोलॉजिस्ट, गवर्नमेंट साइकोलॉजिस्ट हूँ भाई, मुझे कोर्ट ने ऑर्डर किया और आई कंडक्टेड वन असेसमेंट एंड आई फाउंड द पर्सन इज एब्सोल्युटली फिट, मेंटली फिट फॉर द ट्रायल, और वो मैंने सबमिट कर दी कोर्ट में. Now defense lawyer can call me to evaluate, means मुझे भी बुला सकता है कि if you are saying the criminal is fit, on what basis you are saying, what assessments you have conducted. In India, it is very rare that any psychologist be called by the prosecutor, but yes, in few years this would be a very big scenario. I can remind, only in 2 cases till now the psychologists are called. वैसे ज्यादातर बुलाते नहीं है क्योंकि जजेस भी अलाउ नहीं करता है. Why? Because till date psychology reports are not considered the evidences, or as the the document on what basis the judgment is going to be done. So itna important document nahi hai. Yes, it is helping to understand the crime and criminal, but on the basis of psychological assessment nothing is going to be happen. वो समझने के लिए है कि केस में क्या चल रहा है, क्रिमिनल का मेंटल स्टेट क्या है, ये समझने के लिए, बट इसके ऊपर भी बहुत ज्यादा जजमेंट नहीं होते हैं, तो इसीलिए नहीं बुलाते हैं. एज सून एज our psychologist will be trained, our reports are going to be very very fine, and the value of the report would be there. तो ये चीज जो मैं सिनेरियो आपको बोल रही हूँ कि you will be called by the attorney's lawyer, that is going to be there. Okay, these assessments can range from evaluating the presence of a psychological disorder to determining if the defendant has diminished mental capacity. किसी का हो सकता है साइकोलॉजिकल डिसऑर्डर हो, बट समटाइम्स देयर इज नॉट particularly a psychological disorder, but just diminished mental capacity. Means he is not having that much capacity to understand the crime, but he is mentally fit, but mental capacity is bit low. So ये सारी चीजें psychological assessment we try to convey to the court. Forensic psychologists also work with the victims as well, both in investigative and therapeutic capacity. Why I'm saying investigative and therapeutic? As I say, we do not believe on the words as clinical psychologists have to do. Clinical psychology, what we learn, whatever the client is saying, you have to believe that. And on that basis, you have to give treatment. But in forensic psychologist, we cannot do that. We cannot believe on the words. We have to observe their functional behavior, what they are saying, how they are behaving. There is any contradiction or it is perfect matching with each other. So some obviously therapy we give to the victims. Sometimes there are victims who actually trying to manipulate the case, who are uh, telling lie. In that cases, if you found something, that also you have to write in your reports and submit to the authorities. We also conduct investigation in child abuse case, elder abuse case, domestic violence, and obviously treatment we provide to the victims of such crime. Okay, Ji. So that was all about work. This is not as such important. Okay. Whenever we work in forensic setups, what are the things from where we get the data? Direct interview of the victims and criminals. We do the psychological testing, whatever the testings you are learning right now in your bachelor's and your master's, that all the testings you are going to apply in your work places. ठीक है, चाहे वो TAT है, रोशाक है, डिप्रेशन टेस्ट है, एंजाइटी टेस्ट है, ADHD टेस्ट है, whatever the tests are there, same test you will apply in the forensic setups. There are other tests also which are specifically made for forensics, but these psychological tests are very important. So learn all those tests very very effectively. Third is observation, which is very important in our field. Means what we are observing, that also we need to report. Collateral context, sometimes you try to talk with the police, like what they have saw at crime scene, sometimes with the family of the victim or criminals, sometimes with other people also. You try to connect to understand or to collect the data. So those are collateral context. And records review. So if somebody is coming second time, third time in the crime, so if they have previous history of their legal things, so that also you can review. But again, you have to take permission from the court. So these are the things. Okay, so this is the last segment of our session. What are the scopes for you guys? Means for those who would like to work as a forensic psychologist. As I told you, ready-made jobs are not there as such. Lots of people, lots of places now forensic psychologists are working, but uh, but again, clinical psychology jobs are much more than forensic psychology, and in comparison to that also, MA in psychology jobs in the government fields are based on the MA in psychology. So whether you have forensic psychology background, clinical psychology background, you can apply for all those all those jobs. But selection किसका होता है? Who have a specific experience in this field, forensics. जब आप इंटरव्यू में जाते हो, they have written MA in psychology, but when you sit in the interview, they will ask you question related to that. Have you worked with the criminals? What is the psychology of criminals? Have you met with the victims? Have you worked with the juveniles? How do you treat with serial offenders? Have you treat any mental ill patient in the prison? So ये सब चीजें आपको कब आएंगी? जब आपने उस फील्ड में काम किया होगा. ये सब आपका फोरेंसिक साइकोलॉजी के अंडर ही आता है. ठीक है. सो यू कैन वर्क फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल विद द पुलिस का आप हेल्प कर सकते हो उनके असेसमेंट्स में, मींस क्रिमिनल के असेसमेंट्स में, इंटरव्यूज में, पुलिस को ट्रेनिंग देने में, एंड लॉट्स ऑफ अदर थिंग्स. ठीक है. दूसरा है where you can work with the juveniles, crime and delinquency. So there is a lot of research is going on, lot of focus of the government also on the juvenile, means the bachas who are below 18, है ना, they are considered as juvenile. And those who are below 18 and they are delinquent, they are into the crime, government and other organization wants them not to repeat the crime, and that's why lots of focus is on delinquency, कि आप उनको किस तरह से ट्रीट करें. सो जुवेनाइल से बहुत ज्यादा फोकस है वहां पे. ऑब्जर्वेशन होम्स में यू कैन वर्क फॉर देयर ट्रीटमेंट पर्पसेस, फॉर मेकिंग द असेसमेंट फॉर देम, उनकी काउंसलिंग कर सकते हो, उनके पॉलिसी एडवाइजर बन सकते हो, और उनके साथ स्कूल्स में भी वर्क कर सकते हो. Third field is victimology and victim services, where you work with the victims. Victims को direct treat करना, evaluate करना, उनकी reports create करके courts में submit करना, so that they can get good compensations. Plus लोगों को train करना, educate करना, so that in the lower class society they can go and train other people. जैसे कि suppose I am here, I cannot go in every society, every segment. So what I'll do, in from the every segment or the society, I'll pick few people, I'll train them, और वो वहां जाके अपने बेसिक जो भी जहां पे भी वो रहते हैं वहां पे फिर वो ट्रेन करें. इस तरह की चीजें आप यू कैन कनेक्ट विद द एनजीओस एंड यू कैन प्रोवाइड. Then third field is legal psychology. Legal psychology means you can connect with the law firms and then you can work. In that you can do evaluation, visitation, risk assessment. There are number of cases, divorce cases are happening, and in that lots of people do not want other partner to meet the child. वहां पे आप ये assessments कर सकते हो. Child abuse evaluations are there. As a psychologist you can do over there. अभी देखो ये जो है ना, इसके लिए भी कोई जॉब नहीं बना है. There is no job specifically who will ask कि we want a psychologist who can do visitation risk assessment. No, you have to tell the lawyers what help you can do to them. If you have that mindset of private work कि भाई मुझे तो प्राइवेट वर्क करना है बट इन फॉरेंसिक सेटिंग्स में करना है, तो कैसे करोगे? यू हैव टू कनेक्ट विद द लॉ फर्म्स एंड यू कैन टेल देम कि आपके इफ यू आर डीलिंग विद दीज टाइप ऑफ केसेस, आई कैन ऐड वन साइकोलॉजिकल एस्पेक्ट व्हिच इज गोइंग टू हेल्प द पेरेंट्स, या फिर आपका जो भी क्लाइंट है वो, और वी कैन सबमिट दैट इनटू द कोर्ट. कोर्ट कैन नॉट डिनाई द साइकोलॉजिकल रिपोर्ट्स. इनफैक्ट अगर कोई भी साइकोलॉजिकल रिपोर्ट सबमिट हो गई है, कोर्ट हैव टू हैव take that into the consideration. So private legal firms और law firm के साथ आप ये सब काम कर सकते हो. Assist attorney in jury selection, जैसे कि for example I'm into mostly trainings, so I give training to the judges as well, NIA officers, CBI officers. Right now, just before 20 days, I guess, I gave training to the Interpol police, in which 165 country police were involved. So these type of trainings also you can provide. Defendants competency to stand trial, as I told you. So with the legal firms you can say कि भाई हम सबका psychological test करेंगे अपने सारे clients का, so that somewhere with the help of psychological test maybe they can get benefited. So these things are happening in other countries like USA and other places. It is happening. Okay, It is happening. So, but in India, we have to work upon it. And the last field is correctional psychology, means in the prison. There you can work, first of all, for the treatment, for the diagnosis, for the group therapy, individual therapy. There are different type of criminals are there. तो उसमें जो सबसे needed or demanding जो treatment है, that is for first of all substance abuse, second is sex offender treatment. So on that also you can specifically focus and work. Also training of the prison officers, also one part where you can have excel and you can work. This is the glimpse whatever I have just told you in the scope. This is the glimpse, मतलब कि आप कहाँ कहाँ काम कर सकते हो. You can do your private practices, you can work in the courts. देखो courts में जो job आती है, again that is based on the MA psychology, counselor for the family court, counselor for the child counselor. So उसमें अगर आप विदाउट एक्सपीरियंस जाते हो ना, तो इंटरव्यू के टाइम आप उसको क्रैक नहीं कर पाते हो. जिन लोगों को स्पेसिफिकली इन फील्ड्स का experience होता है, they usually crack that. But it is fine. If you are MA psychology, you would like to enter in the forensic psychology field and it's a beginning, तो आप apply करो, जाओ, no problem. Child protection agencies are there, CARA, CARA, उसमें बहुत सारी vacancies निकलती है. Victim services, domestic violence courts are there, जिसमें specifically साइकोलॉजिस्ट की वैकेंसी होती है. फॉरेंसिक मेंटल हेल्थ यूनिट्स होती है गवर्नमेंट एंड प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल्स में, बट अगेन 1 or 2 वैकेंसीज आर देयर. सेक्स ऑफेंडर ट्रीटमेंट प्रोग्राम्स in which you have to take training and then you can work in the prisons. Correctional institutions are there where you can work. Research organization like BPRND. There are always some internships are there जहाँ पे आप apply कर सकते हैं and you can start working with them. Colleges and university में always there is the scope of teaching and research. Juvenile delinquency treatment programs and law firms के साथ आप connect होके काम कर सकते हो. So these are the scopes for forensic psychology. This is our upcoming training, which is starting from 19th April. Gaurav Gill sir is body language expert. He is with me in this training and it is 1 month training. So if you would like to join this particular training for your, you know, to understand this particular field in a very depth manner, और क्या बोलूं आपको, अगर आपने एमए कर लिया है बट आपको फॉरेंसिक्स की नॉलेज चाहिए, देन यू कैन ज्वाइन दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग कि forensic psychology. That is it from my side. Now you can ask question if you have. ठीक है जी. Yes.
Participants who have questions may type them in the chat box and we'll take them up.
Sure, sure. Ajay Soni, right, about the narco analysis. Yes, they again consider it as a corroborative evidence, but not the first evidence. Means if you have, suppose in narco, somebody found guilty, somebody says, yes, I have committed murder. ठीक है, narco analysis में बोल दिया, but on that basis we are not going to give punishment. Now again we have to provide the physical evidence. If he is saying he has committed the murder, तो कोई gun, कोई weapon, knife, कुछ तो use किया होगा, where it is. So from there we are going to get a lead. उस lead के through we are going to get that physical evidence, and that physical evidence will be admissible in the court. How do cultural factors influence the practice of forensic psychology in India, and how can practitioners navigate these factors ethically and effectively? See, cultural factor in what manner you are saying? If it is a family thing or something, means related to you as an employer, so obviously you have to overcome it. But cultural factor in what sense you are asking, I am not understanding. Means whose culture? Your culture or criminal's culture or victim's culture?
Ma'am, I think the participant meant the culture in general, like the people involved, like the criminal and the victim as well. If we have any bias, then how can we navigate through that?
Hmm. So first of all, what I told you that as a psychologist, you have to be, you know, you have to be non-judgmental, non-biased, and that is in the beginning of the session I told you. Whether sometimes we have this set in the mind like caste. If he's from this particular caste, if he's from particular this background, तो इतना तो करेगा ही, इतना तो होना ही है. Yes, these are our individual biases. आप घर जाओ, you just go at your home and you can think about it. But when you are at workplace, you have to uh, rethink. In fact, what I will rewire your own thoughts that the person who is sitting in front of me, that is a client, that is a human being, and it is my duty to treat or to give the uh, best advice, best treatment to that particular person. If you cannot fight with your biases, your non-judgmental behavior, then you won't be a good psychologist ever, because we are working on the thoughts and you are not working on your own thoughts. Aapka, you have to work first on your own skills and then go to this particular field, right? Okay. So it is better to pursue only masters in psychology rather than masters in forensic psychology. At this moment of time, it is good to do masters in psychology and do your PhD or any other course in forensic psychology. What I would suggest, because if you will do masters in forensic psychology, that will somewhere bound the scope of your career, because you have done masters in forensic psychology and lots of jobs are for the masters in psychology only. So you that will restrict your application for the other jobs. So this is my personal advice to the students, but again, take your own decisions by discussing with other experts as well. But from my side, my always advises masters in psychology is preferable. Okay, how was your first experience on the field as trained forensic psychologist? Can you tell us about the case? Ajay, देखो, I have worked with first of all observation home, second DRDO, third Delhi police, fourth prison, fifth court, and sixth trainings of the officers. है ना? Lots of places I have worked because I wanted to explore and nobody told me कि आपका क्या क्या स्कोप हो सकते हैं, आप कहाँ कहाँ जॉब कर सकते हो. तो मुझे जहां भी स्कोप मिलता था, जहां भी मुझे चांस मिलता था, आई यूजुअली अप्लाई एंड आई गो ओवर देयर एंड वर्क. सो मेरे एक्सपीरियंस से ही मुझे समझ में आया कि ओके, ये सारी फील्ड तो फॉरेंसिक साइकोलॉजी के अंडर आते हैं. बट at every place I have applied as a psychologist, not as a forensic psychologist. ठीक है, हर जगह मैंने जाके उन्हें बताया है कि ये forensic psychologist साइकोलॉजी के अंडर आता है. एंड अथॉरिटी लिटरली टोल्ड मी कि हमें पता ही नहीं है, देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड फोरेंसिक साइकोलॉजी. सो जो पहले से एडवर्टीजमेंट आते हैं, हम उन्हीं को रेप्लिकेट करते जाते हैं. एनीवेज, सो तुम्हें क्या एक्सपीरियंस बताऊं? Lots of experiences are there. Okay, in the prison there was a boy, ठीक है, who was illiterate. He came into the robbery case, 20 lakh का कुछ robbery किया था, and he was illiterate. उसे पढ़ना लिखना भी नहीं आता था. The very orthodox thinking, लड़कियों को घर से बाहर नहीं निकलना चाहिए, और substance abuse कोई बुरी बात नहीं है, something like this. Within the 2 months, and prison officers used to tell us, मैम कुछ नहीं होगा इन बच्चों का, क्या आप काउंसलिंग करते हो, क्या आप क्लासेस देते हो, इन बच्चों को कुछ नहीं होगा, ये ऐसे ही रहेंगे, दिस एंड दैट. ये एक केस बता रही हूँ मैं तुम्हें. Within 2 months only, we found the child started writing his name and he was really happy कि मैम मुझे लिखना आ गया. He started doing sign, जो बहुत नॉटी बोला जाता था, जिसे क्लास में हम बोलते थे यार ये क्यों ही आता है, सबको परेशान करता था. He became monitor with the behavior, and the surprising element was initially he said his mother and his sisters not to visit him in the prison. मुझसे मिलने prison में नहीं आना क्योंकि यहाँ पे सब लड़के होते हैं, गंदी नजरों से देखते हैं, this and that. मुझसे यहाँ मिलने कोई भी नहीं आएगा. And after 2 months he called his mother. उसने फोन किया और बोला नहीं उससे मिलने आओ क्योंकि इन लड़कों की वजह से मैं अपनी मदर से क्यों ना मिलूं. ये उसके थॉट पैटर्न में जो एक चेंज था. एंड ही अगेन टोल्ड हिज मदर ऑल्सो कि अब मुझे समझ में आया है कि द बेस्ट फ्रेंड्स आर ऑलवेज पेरेंट्स एंड योर फैमिली. जो बाहर है वो मेरे एक्चुअली फ्रेंड्स नहीं है. अगर वो मेरे फ्रेंड्स होते मुझे इस तरह से क्राइम में नहीं लेके आते. थर्ड थिंग ही सेड कि जब भी whenever I'll get bail or will be free from the prison, no, so मैं अपनी sisters को ना अब आगे पढ़ाऊंगा and I will allow them to do whatever they want to do. Means अगर पुअर फैमिली से थे तो अगर वो स्टिचिंग वगैरह सीखने बाहर जाना चाहती हैं तो मैं उन्हें अलाउ करूंगा. और मैरिज किसी भी मेरी सिस्टर की मैरिज बिफोर 18 नहीं होगी. आफ्टर दैट दे विल गेट मैरिड. So these things we जब हमने देखा ना कि okay, actually change can happen, but you have to be consistent for that. This is a positive kind of case that I'm telling you. Lots of people will discourage you, but if you really would like to work, you have to work. ठीक है. और चेंजेस होते हैं, बिल्कुल होते हैं. अब जो कहते हैं पर्सनालिटी बन चुकी है अब नहीं चेंज होगी. वंस इन अ क्राइम ऑलवेज इन अ क्राइम. सो आई डू नॉट कंसीडर देम दैट एज अ ट्रुथ. मुझे लगता है नहीं, चेंजेस आर देयर. आप चेंज करना चाहो तो होता है. ठीक है. फर्स्ट एक्सपीरियंस अगेन आई टोल्ड यू कि मेरा फर्स्ट एक्सपीरियंस हर जगह बहुत अलग अलग है. सो स्पेसिफिकली क्या बताऊं, आई डोंट नो. केस बताया. Okay, ma'am, please share how's your experience. Juvenile Justice Board. Okay. The practical reality of profession challenges and wisdom, anything that, okay. See, Juvenile Justice Board में again, I got selected on the basis of my MPhil. And देखो सिटिंग प्लेस वर्क प्लेस वो तो बिल्कुल भी अप्रोप्रिएट नहीं था. व्हाट यू एक्चुअली यू वांट कि भाई मैं एमफिल हूँ आफ्टर स्टडिंग लॉट ऑफ थिंग एंड इन्वेस्टिंग लॉट्स ऑफ इयर्स इन दिस फील्ड, तो मुझे एक पर्टिकुलर टाइप ऑफ एनवायरमेंट मिलना चाहिए वर्क का. वो तो नहीं है बिकॉज इट्स अ कोर्ट. आपको एक छोटा सा रूम दे दिया गया है. यू कैन जस्ट सिट ओवर देयर. आप नहीं हो तो कोई और बैठ जाएगा. समथिंग लाइक दिस. But the work what I have done, that was wonderful. I was there to do the assessment of the children who committed the heinous crimes and who comes into the age of 16 to 18 years. दो ये वाले जो एज में आते हैं ना, आफ्टर द निर्भया केस अमेंडमेंट वाज डन कि हर किसी को एज अ बच्चा वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू कंसीडर, वी हैव टू डू द साइकोलॉजिकल असेसमेंट. सो उसी के लिए मेरा सिलेक्शन हुआ था कि यू हैव टू डू द असेसमेंट्स. So that work was very challenging and new. क्योंकि उससे पहले प्रिलिमिनरी असेसमेंट्स हमारे इंडिया में होते नहीं थे. क्या करना है कोई गाइडलाइंस नहीं है. कैसे करना है नो गाइडलाइंस. फॉरेंसिक असेसमेंट है क्या, नो असेसमेंट्स आर देयर. सो वी वर फ्रॉम द फ्यू पीपल who started doing all these assessment. I am one of them. So हमने अपना पूरा क्रिएट किया किस तरह से असेसमेंट करना है, क्या पूछना है, क्या नहीं पूछना है. लॉट्स ऑफ थिंग्स वर देयर. इसका मैं एक केस बताती हूँ. A boy came to us or referred to us by the court. He was blind and he committed unnatural sex कह लो आप, और 377 केस. ठीक है. He did sex with the another boy. And he was also blind because they were studying in the blind school. So इस तरह का कोई केस था. So the boy was referred to me and I conducted the assessment and he was perfectly fit. Mentally he was perfectly fit. In fact he was doing very good in the academics. First आना, music में he was very good. Blind school में था but अच्छा बच्चा था. तो अब असेसमेंट में क्या लिखा, ही इज मेंटली फिट. आप इसको ट्रायल के लिए भेज सकते हो, मीन्स सेशन कोर्ट में भेज सकते हो. ही विल बी ट्राइड एज अ adult only. इस तरह का कुछ केस था. But what I did, initially I made report, but when I went back home, I was thinking about the case that the child is blind. What would be the future? He was just 16, means crossed the 16. So what would be the future? He is going to survive? This, that, lots of things were there. Then suddenly it came to my mind, if the child was born blind, from where he learned this thing, what he did, ये crime से सीखा कहाँ से? Then again I called that particular child for the session and I asked him. Initially he was not opened up, but later on he told that he also victimized when he was a child, 13 or 14 years or something. So from there I got to know, okay, how he learned. So उसको किसने abuse किया था? Mess वाले बंदे ने, somebody from the canteen. Why? कि you do this with me, I'll give you biscuits and extra namkeens or something, and you can keep it into your room also. But he had not that courage to tell somebody else. तो इसे लगा कि ये सब चलता है, ठीक है. So he again did the same thing with the other boy. But that boy told the parents, जब भी parents मिलने आए उसने बता दिया कि मेरे साथ एक लड़के ने ऐसे ऐसे किया, and that's how the complaint got registered. So in this particular case, I mentioned that thing in the report कि he was also victimized. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो victimized था तो वो कर सकता है, उसको right है. This is not the scenario in this case, but he was blind as well, and he was also feeling guilty. So I don't know what happened in this particular judgment. मुझे पूरा केस नहीं पता है, because we as a psychologist we cannot attach to the particular case. Again आपका वो biasness वाला चीज आ जाता है. But what I mentioned कि समथिंग हैपेंड विद हिम, तो उसको एक तो जो स्कूल था उससे रेस्टिगेट ना किया जाए. सेकेंड, वट एवर द फैसिलिटी ही वॉज गेटिंग फॉर स्टडी वो उसकी कंटिन्यू रही. सो अर्लियर उसको रेस्टिगेट कर दिया गया था, उसे स्कूल से निकाल दिया गया था, लॉट्स ऑफ थिंग्स वर डन, बट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट ओनली उसको री एडमिशन मिला और उसको बस की फैसिलिटी प्रोवाइड हुई कि जब तक एटलीस्ट दिस केस इज गोइंग ऑन थिंग्स विल बी सेम लाइक दिस. बस उसको हॉस्टल में रहने की परमिशन नहीं मिली क्योंकि उसके लिए लॉट्स ऑफ पेरेंट्स वर मेकिंग इश्यूज. बट एटलीस्ट उसका जो एजुकेशन वाला पार्ट था वो रुका नहीं, वो कंटिन्यू रहा. सो मुझे लगता है इस केस में थोड़ा बहुत ये जो, क्योंकि वो स्पेशली एबल्ड था, उसका थोड़ा बहुत मे बी उसको लिबर्टी मिल गई हो. बट अगेन आई एम नॉट श्योर व्हाट एक्चुअली हैपेंड इन दिस केस. मुझे बस इतना पता है कि ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ साइकोलॉजिकल रिपोर्ट he got readmission and the bus facility. दो चीजें उसे मिल गई. So that's how as a psychologist we can help. होता तो मैं फर्स्ट रिपोर्ट सबमिट करके खत्म कर सकती थी, लेकिन वो मुझे एज एन प्रोफेशनल आई कुड नॉट डाइजेस्ट दिस थिंग कि एक ब्लाइंड बच्चा जो बर्थ से ब्लाइंड है, हाउ ही कैन कमिट दिस क्राइम. उनको टीवी नहीं है, उनको फोन नहीं है, कुछ ऐसा एक्सेस नहीं है, तो किस तरह से. सो लॉट्स ऑफ मनी थिंग्स. ठीक है, अदरवाइज वेरी वंडरफुल एक्सपीरियंस. बच्चों के साथ काम करना मुझे वैसे भी अच्छा लगता है, तो इट वाज गुड एक्सपीरियंस. जजेस रियली गुड, दे विल अंडरस्टैंड यू. बट अगेन इंडिविजुअल होता है, बट इफ यू विल डू गुड वर्क दे आर कंसर्न अबाउट योर वर्क ओनली. सो you get chance to work with the judges, with the police at a same place, with the lawyer. So it's a very good experience for me. Okay ji, Tandon ji ka hai. Also in your job profile as a female working with criminals at Tihar, there have been issues, and how do you manage them? See, as a female there was not a problem. When problem occurs, when you do not understand the organization or environmental factors. For example, you are going into the prison, but you are wearing tight jeans, tops, है ना? अब आप criminals के बीच में जा रहे हो, and you are not considering all those things. So it is your problem. They are already having, negative thoughts, distracted thoughts about the females, about the society only. सो ये सारी चीजें हमें ध्यान रखनी पड़ती है. अदरवाइज अच्छा, आप ये भी नहीं कंसिडर कर सकते हो कि इफ आई एम गोइंग टू अ मेल प्रिजन और एज अ फीमेल आई एम गोइंग, तो वहां पे मुझे कोई देखेगा नहीं, कोई मेरे बारे में बात नहीं करेगा. इट इज नॉट नॉर्मल. इनफैक्ट आप किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जाओगे, दीज थिंग्स हैपन. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल एक्सेप्ट दिस थिंग. सेकेंड, create your own boundaries with the officers, with the prisoners, with everyone. Be professional. First and second meeting may they can make any kind of image of yours, but as soon as they are going to understand you are very professional, you are not going to influence by them, influenced by their derogatory comments as well as their any manipulative things, so वो आपको समझ जाते हैं, दे स्टार्ट रिस्पेक्टिंग यू एज वेल, क्योंकि उनको लगता है यहाँ जो भी आया है 4 दिन के लिए आया है, कितना दिन ही रुकेगा, है ना, ऐसी चीजें होती है। बट एज आई टोल्ड यू द स्टोरी ऑफ दैट बॉय, वो आज तक भी, जब तक मतलब वो मेरे कनेक्ट में था, ही कंसीडर मी एज अ सिस्टर, एल्डर सिस्टर, कि आपने मुझे इतना सिखाया, इतनी हेल्प की मेरी। सो आई एम नॉट बॉदर अबाउट अदर्स, बट दोज हु एक्चुअली made some changes in their behavior, in thoughts, so that is it। थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट होता ही है, बट इट इज नॉट अबाउट द प्रेजेंट, इट इज फॉर फीमेल। आप कहीं भी जाते हो, यू हैव टू क्रिएट योर ओन प्रोफेशनल बाउंड्रीज। देर आर सो मेनी फीमेल्स हु यू नो, उन्होंने क्या किया, उन्होंने हेल्प की क्रिमिनल्स की, बाय गिविंग देम चिट्स, बाय गिविंग देम मैसेजेस ऑफ देयर फैमिली, बाय गिविंग देम इनफैक्ट सिम ऑल्सो। आपको ये सब चीजें नहीं करनी है, क्योंकि आप मेल्स के साथ काम कर रहे हो, आप फीमेल हो, दे आर गोइंग टू गेट एडवांटेज ऑफ योर इमोशंस, योर फीलिंग्स। वो आपको थोड़ा सा मैनेज करना है। अदरवाइज अगर आप सेफ्टी के पर्पज से कहते हो, सो व्हाट आई ऑलवेज से, प्रिजन इज द मोस्ट सेफेस्ट प्लेस, क्योंकि वहां आपके पास हमेशा सिक्योरिटी गार्ड्स हैं, आपके पास हमेशा कोई ना कोई है। ये क्रिमिनल्स बाहर क्रिमिनल्स होते हैं, प्रिजन के अंदर दे आर नॉट क्रिमिनल्स, दे आर लाइक यू एंड मी। सो इट इज द मोस्ट सेफेस्ट प्लेस। यहाँ के बाद कहाँ जाओगे, आप जहां भी बैठते हो, काउंसलिंग करते हो, 2 गार्ड्स आर आउटसाइड, है ना, आप पढ़ाते हो तो 2 गार्ड्स आर आउटसाइड। सो मोस्ट सेफेस्ट प्लेस, नो नो एट ऑल इशू लाइक दिस। From BHU to Juvenile Justice Board. After BHU, I went to NFSU, National Forensic Sciences University, for my MPhil. After that, I came back to the Delhi, my hometown. So wahan se I started working with, first of all, orphanage home for 2 months. After that, I worked in DRDO as a researcher for 1.5 years, something, JRF. नेट क्लियर था मेरा, नेट क्लियर कर लेना तुम लोग, ठीक है, तो डीआरडीओ में वर्क कर पाओगे। देन आई गॉट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी इन दिल्ली पुलिस एज अ कैपेसिटी ऑफिसर। वहां पे आई वर्क विद पुलिस। सो पुलिस स्टेशन को हमें देखना होता था, साइकोलॉजी जो विंग था उसकी मैं हेड थी इन दिल्ली। सो दिल्ली पुलिस के साथ काम किया, एंड आई वॉज द यंगेस्ट ऑल्सो इन दैट। दिल्ली पुलिस के बाद आई came to this Juvenile Justice Board. So वहां के बाद Juvenile Justice Board, और उसके बाद फिर से I went to NFSU for teaching and training, जहाँ पे मैंने आपको बताया we used to give trainings, और अब I am giving trainings to the officers. So this was my journey. In between also lots of things I have done. बहुत सारे orphanages, NGOs के साथ connect किया, गौतम बुद्ध यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ाया, वेबिनार्स, वर्कशॉप्स, मतलब जहां भी अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली, आई यूज टू गो। मैंने कभी किसी चीज को ना नहीं किया, एंड दैट्स व्हाई माय एक्सपीरियंस कीप्स ग्रोइंग। मुझे इसी वजह से हर एक फील्ड में एक्सपीरियंस होता गया, और फिर जहां आप इंटरव्यू में बैठते हो, यू कैन क्रैक दोज इंटरव्यू इजीली, बिकॉज यू नो, प्रैक्टिकली यू नो कि अच्छा मैंने ये किया है, ये किया है, ये किया है, सो यू कैन टेल देम। थैंक यू अजय, थैंक यू। I think the issue of transparency and counterterrorism can also occur. Actually, CB, this is the, जो मैंने बोला ना कि help किया, messages देके, this, so this is the case of transparency only. यही होता है। So the girls and the boys just after MA जाते हो, आप बहुत enthusiast होते हो, और आपको लगता है हम तो सब चेंज करके रख देंगे, एंड वहां पे आपको कोई मिल जाता है, लड़कों को कोई लड़की मिल जाती है, लड़कियों को कोई लड़का मिल जाता है, एंड यू connect with them emotionally. इनिशियली यू कनेक्ट विद देम टू चेंज देम, कि इमोशनली अगर मैं कनेक्ट होके ना उसे चेंज कर दूंगा, मैं उसे बोलूंगा नहीं नहीं क्राइम मत करना, तो वो नहीं करेंगे, मैं उसे समझाऊंगा, मैं उसे समझाऊंगी, बट ऐसा होता नहीं है, ऐसा होता नहीं है। तो यू हैव टू बी प्रोफेशनल, और ट्रांसपेरेंसी के केसेस तो होते ही होते हैं at this age, particularly after your masters and all, but 2 3 4 years after that, you actually understand कि society is not like that what you were understanding. This is my personal advice to you all, जितने भी यहाँ पे 12 लोग हो. It is maybe beginning of your career. Professionalism always बना के रखना है, because you never know आप कब कहाँ जाओगे और कब कहाँ किससे मिलोगे. So if you have done something wrong at this place, साइकोलॉजी है, छोटा सा ही है फील्ड तो, है ना. सो आफ्टर 2 years 3 years you will go at some other places and this person will give your reference to somebody else. वो नेगेटिव या पॉजिटिव कुछ देगा आपके बिहेवियर के ऊपर. सो अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कुछ भी इस तरह की चीजें नहीं करना जो आपकी पोजीशन को खराब करे, कि यार हाँ आया तो था एक साइकोलॉजिस्ट बट उसने ना ये कर दिया. एक साइकोलॉजिस्ट आई तो थी भाई, उसने ये कर दिया, अब तो हमें साइकोलॉजिस्ट रखना ही नहीं है. समथिंग लाइक दिस. बी प्रोफेशनल. अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में बी प्रोफेशनल. You will see your professionalism is going to give you lots of respect. अपने काम को, अपने स्किल्स को लर्न करते रहो जहां पे भी हो. ट्राई टू लर्न फ्रॉम योर जो भी है आपके जो सीनियर्स हैं. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है हम कहते हैं यार क्या आता है इन्हें, कुछ भी नहीं आता. ठीक है, उन्हें कुछ भी नहीं आता, आपको आता है. लेकिन जो भी उनको आता है, उनको जो 6 महीने 8 महीने 10 महीने का एक्सपीरियंस आपसे ज्यादा है, जस्ट ग्रैब दैट. और फिर आपको जहां मूव ऑन करना है करो. ठीक है. सो बिचिंग नहीं करो, बुराइयां नहीं करो, प्रोफेशनलिज्म बना के रखो. ये 3 चीजें हर एक अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में करो. वट एवर यू आर इंडिविजुअली, वो आप अपने फ्रेंड सर्कल में रहो. ठीक है. आप मस्तीखोर हो, आप बहुत ज्यादा, आपको अच्छा लगता है दूसरों की बातें करना, सबकी चुगलियां करना, वो आप अपने पर्सनल सर्कल में करो, प्रोफेशनल सर्कल में नहीं. ठीक है. ये सारी चीजें हमेशा ध्यान रखना. वेदर फॉरेंसिक्स, क्लिनिकल, कोई भी फील्ड हो, दैट डजंट मैटर. ठीक है. कहीं ना कहीं टकरा जाओगे आप अपने कुलीग से. सो दीज थिंग्स ऑलवेज फॉलो. ओके, आई गेस डन. यू कैन कनेक्ट विद मी ऑन इंस्टा और लिंक्डइन. कुछ भी क्वेश्चन रह गए होंगे तो कर लेना. थैंक यू सो मच. और एज आई टोल्ड यू, स्कोप्स आर देयर बट अगेन रेडीमेड इज नॉट देयर. थोड़ा सा भी इफ यू आर रेडी टू हार्ड वर्क देन यू कैन गो ऑन. ठीक है. चलो, डन फ्रॉम माई साइड. यस अनिता,
Yes, ma'am.
hand over to you.
Thank you so much. It was such a wonderful and realistic session from you, because we really wanted to know what actually happens in these scenarios. We get to know about all these things in brochures and Google everywhere, but actually listening to the stories was actually inspiring. Wonderful. So thank you so much for this
Thank
really
you.
eye-opening session. And to the participants as well, we thank you so much for being with us till now. And I hope
Yes,
you
thank
all really learned a lot from this session. And we look forward to having you all for our next session with PsyConnect as well. So thank you all. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all. Connect with me. And chalo, take care. Bye. Good evening. Thank you, Anitya. Thank you, PsyConnect.
Thank you,
Keep
ma'am.
doing good work.